Good morning, all of you. So today our topic is about interaction diagrams. Okay. So as we discussed about what is a diagram, first of all, it's a connected graph with vertices and edges, where vertices are nothing but things. And what are our things here? Don't say interaction, it's about objects, because interaction communication is done between the objects. So our vertices will be objects and their relationship. We call it as link. Okay, so that is what about interaction diagrams. And as diagrams are divided into two parts, that is static and dynamic. So the first two, that is class, object, component and deployment, comes under static diagrams, whereas use case diagrams, then interaction diagrams, then we have activity diagrams, and then we have state chart diagrams. So these four, whatever I have mentioned, are called as behavioral diagrams, or another terms we can say dynamic diagrams. And in that we were learning about interaction diagrams. So interaction diagrams are nothing but, first of all, interaction means it's the communication, give and take. So you talk something, the other one will respond accordingly for what you have asked for. Based on the response you got, again, so the communication will continue. So that is what we call it as interaction. And always interaction in the system is done between objects only, instances of classes, but not classes. Interaction is done between the instances or objects of the classes only. Okay, so today we are going to study in detail about interaction diagrams. So in this chapter, so these are the things, the terms and concepts of this, and flow control by time ordering, and modeling flow control by organization. So can anyone tell me flow control by time ordering means what? Diagrams? Flow control by time ordering. It's nothing but sequence diagrams. Many times I told you. In course of time, the messages we are going to show in order, based on the time. So time ordering flow control is nothing but sequence diagrams. So control by organization is collaboration diagrams. Okay, and then we talk about forward and reverse engineering. Okay, so as I was telling you about the dynamic aspects of the system, so it's nothing but we can capture dynamic aspects of the system by behavioral diagrams.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, are you sharing the screen, ma'am?
Yes.
Because we won't able to see your screen, ma'am.
You're not able to see?
No.
Okay. So
Just
again,
Steam screen only.
yeah, again I'll share. Is this okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, please mute yourself. So here, interaction diagrams are of two types, as we have learnt about sequence diagrams and collaboration diagrams. So in sequence and collaboration, some communication, some interaction is going on. Okay, that interaction we are going to show in time ordering, that is in sequence diagrams. In control by organization, we show it in the collaboration diagrams. So these both are called as interaction diagrams, or sometimes communication diagrams also they say. So this belongs to the in order to give the dynamic aspects of the system as behavioral or dynamic diagrams. Okay, so a sequence diagram is an interaction diagram that emphasizes on the time ordering of messages. Okay, so and then whereas collaboration is nothing but that emphasizes on the structural organization of the objects that send and receive messages. So please remember it emphasizes on the structural organization. Okay, so these details we are going to learn now. So what is time ordering, what is structural organization of them, and then for the most part we involve modeling here when we are talking about communication. So as I was telling you, communication or interaction is done between the objects. Okay, and we learned about different types of objects. If you have remember, concrete instances or prototypical instances. So concrete, when we say, they are like static, whereas prototypical, which are in dynamic. Okay, so based on such instances and their communication, when we are going to capture in one flow control, then we call them as interaction diagrams. And that flow control, when you are able to show based on time ordering, it is sequence diagram. Whereas that flow control, if you are going to show it as a structural organization, then it is called collaboration diagram. So as these interaction diagrams comes under dynamic diagrams or behavioral diagrams. So these will give you the dynamic parts of a particular society of objects. So whatever the objects are involved in that scenario, based on that objects and how dynamically they are changing, what they are communicating, who is the initiator. So all that can be captured and may be used to model one particular flow of control of a use case. Say suppose we have already studied about use case diagrams, if you remember. So in a use case diagram, so validating a credit card validation system is the system boundary say. Okay, so in that what we were learning about, so validating PIN say, validating PIN or validating card. Okay, so validating a card is one flow control which is performed in sequence of actions. So that flow control, still how it is communicated, how it is carried out, that one use case what we are talking about, so that complete use case details in specific and their interaction is shown in the interaction diagrams. Okay, so interaction diagrams not only are important for modeling the dynamic aspects of the system, but also they are important for constructing executable systems through forward and reverse engineering. So this also will be concentrating as the third topic. So concentrating on executable systems means, so whatever the model we are building, so from that model we are going to get code. That is what forward engineering. So that is nothing but constructing executable systems. Okay, so let's see interaction diagrams. So before we go into the details of this chapter, so in the introduction itself, let's see what these diagrams are. So sequence diagram and collaboration diagram. These two diagrams put together are called as interaction diagrams or communication diagrams also we say in some somewhere you in the net or maybe when you come across communication diagrams, it's nothing but interaction diagrams only. Okay, so interaction or communication means some communication, send and receiving messages will happen. Between whom it will happen? Between the objects. Okay, so for that what we are doing, so the objects will be placed on the x-axis. For sequence diagram I am talking about. Sequence diagram, the objects will be placed along x-axis. And whereas these dotted lines we call it as lifelines. Okay, and this rectangle box, whatever you are seeing, so that is called focus of control. Okay, we'll study these things in detail, but only thing you emphasize on, in sequence diagrams, objects are placed on x-axis, whereas lifelines are placed on y-axis. Okay, and whichever is the object initiator, so that should be the first one. So here client object is sending message. So sending message means it is interacting. What is the interaction symbol? We have solid line with solid pointing. Okay, so that is interaction. So what it is interacting? So it is creating. So based on that interaction, what I am talking to, what is that message I am conveying you, even that you are going to write as a message on above the interaction symbol. Okay, so now what I can say, the client instance C is creating an object which is called transaction. Okay, and here we are giving some condition as transient constraint. Okay, condition is nothing but constraint. What they are giving here transient. If any one of you remember, can recollect what is transient? We have studied this prior. Transient is nothing but the object creation and destroying that object within the before execution. Okay, so when it is required, it is created, and once that purpose is over, it will be destroyed. So that such thing is called as transient. Okay, so first client object instance C is creating an object called transient, and again from client he is setting actions ADO, giving some parameters. So for this one I told you some example, if you remember. This we have seen already, but still again I'll tell you. Say client C is nothing but, say as a user you are booking some ticket, either bus ticket or rail ticket or airline ticket, whatever. Okay, so when you are creating means the instance of the ticket will be created here. It will be transient, and it is particularly only to that client, only to that user. And once that is created, when it can be created, if the slot vacancy is there, then only you can create, otherwise you can't. Okay, then you are setting actions. Setting actions means you are giving your details. ADO are the details of yours. Okay, to the transaction, to the system. So taking your details, they are going to submit that into the, usually proxy is nothing but the server. Okay, so they'll submit those details into the server along with the values what you have given. Okay, the payment whether you have done, not only the details, the payment and all, is it done, so through which cash or credit, so whatever may be the details you might have paid. So it is going to commit, give some acknowledgement to the client that your ticket is booked and it is ready. And once the client he avails his ticket, so that will be destroyed based on however it is designed. Maybe after you travel using that ticket, after 15 days or 1 month, the database things which will be destroyed. So but though these things are available in the database, but may not be in the current system, since it is transient. So whenever you have created and until you avail it, it will be existing. After that it will be deleted, but in the databases they can maintain for few month or some days, however they want the details to be kept. Okay, so this is about sequence diagram. So you remember that sequence diagram is an interaction diagram which is interacting between the objects, and whichever is the object initiator start communicating, so that should be the first object. And then with what object the second first object is communicating to second, so that should be the second one. And similarly, so these objects should be in the sequence. And not only that, the interaction, the communicating messages should be in the order. So by seeing step by step, so this is first message, second message, third message, fourth message, fifth and sixth. So it should be in the order, in the sequence, and based on the timelines. So that's why we call sequence diagrams are based on the time ordering of messages. Okay. So similarly, when we go for the collaboration diagrams, structural organization of the objects means whatever the objects we are having in sequence diagrams, so those objects randomly we place. So first is client and then transient and then proxy. So in collaboration diagrams, what we do, the objects we is connected with links. So objects communication or the relation, we say it as the link. Okay, so this is also link. And after that, in sequence, these messages are in order, sequence order, so we can trace which is the first one in after first message, what is second and all. But whereas in collaboration diagrams, so after these connections, so you need to concentrate here. So client C instance is creating an object called transaction. So that will be the first message here. Client creating a transaction object. So that is first one. And what is second one? Second is set actions ADO. So second one is set actions ADO. And third one, set values D, 3.4. Set values. So based on these things, so we are not only using the message numbering, procedural and as well as non-procedural, both are used here. So 1, 2, 3 are flat sequences, whereas 2 it's recursively called as 2.1 and 2.2. So based on the second message, so these two are happening. So that is what we write. So this is 2.1 and this is 2.2, and between whom it is communicated, transaction and proxy. So between transaction and proxy you are going to write. And then what is this next message? So this is committed. So committed, it's not focused. So only destroy. So they have taken this as the third message. Okay. So here and few more things are given here, like local. So local means as a user you can book your ticket on your local machine, but it have to be updated globally in the server. Okay. So this is a structural organization of messages. That is what we call it as collaboration diagrams. And in this structural organization of messages, who is the initiator, what is the first message, and the sequence of messages can be understood by giving message numbering. So message numbering can be either procedural sequence numbering or flat sequence numbering, or non-procedural we say. Procedural means, so it can be in decimals like recursive ones, whereas flat 1, 2, 3 only the integers we give. Okay. So if at all, if one diagram is there, the other one can be generated. If one diagram collaboration is there, sequence also can be generated. So by seeing these two diagrams, you should be able to clearly understand that sequence and collaboration diagrams show the interactions clearly and they mean the same, but only the representations are different. Only the representations are different. So here the representation is time ordering of messages, but here we call it as structural organization of messages. Okay, so those are the things about our interaction diagrams, that is about sequence and collaboration diagrams. So let's move on to the chapter subheadings. So as it is, interaction diagrams is a diagrams chapter. So every diagrams chapter is divided into 3 parts. So the first one we are going to study about terms and concepts, and the second one it is based on common modeling techniques, and third one we call it as forward and reverse engineering. Okay. So moving on to the first one, terminology of this chapter, that is about interaction diagrams. So interaction diagram shows interaction, communication consisting of the set of objects and their relationships, and including the messages that is conversed between those two objects. Okay, so and these interaction diagrams are divided into two. So interaction diagrams we have two. So first one is about sequence diagram. So I was telling you about sequence diagram is an interaction diagram which is emphasizing on time ordering of messages. Time ordering of messages. Graphically, how we will be able to show? So it is just like a table that shows object arranged along the x-axis. Objects are in the x-axis and messages ordering in increasing time along y-axis. Okay, so and then moving on to the second one, collaboration diagram. This is also an interaction diagram which is mainly concentrated on structural organization of the objects that send and receive messages or what they communicate. So that is there in the collaboration diagram. And graphically what we can say, it's nothing but a connected graph of vertices and edges. Our vertices are nothing but objects and edges or arcs we could call them as links. Okay, so under first part terminology, again we have three subheadings. So every diagram, first part, clearly only these three subheadings will be there. First one, common properties, then contents, and then common uses. So moving on to common properties. So general common properties of this interaction diagram, what we can say. So it is one of the diagram among 9 diagrams and it comes under behavioral or dynamic diagrams. Okay, and how it is different from other diagrams? By its contents. What contents? Seeing on the contents and how it is represented. By seeing the visual cue of itself, only we can make out how it is a sequence diagram. Okay, so then moving on to the second one, that is contents. So interaction diagrams commonly contain. So we have gone through the examples for sequence and collaboration. In this, what exactly you are seeing? So communication or interaction is done between the objects. Here also we have objects and here also we have objects. So what are the contents? First primary content or basic thing what we'll talk about? Objects. And then links. So the the relation between two objects we call it as a link. Okay, and interaction, usually we represent those in the interaction by using messages. So that is what we are talking about contents here. Objects, links and messages. What messages we are giving. So like all other diagrams, interaction diagrams contain nodes and constraints. So nodes here means if at all you want to give any specific details or you want to give more clarity about some object or some communication, then you can give a note as a comment, how you give in programming languages. Here we can give a note in a dog-eared cornered folder. In that, what exactly you want to write, you can write, and you have to link that to what you want to give that note or comment with dotted line. Okay, and constraint is something what we call it as condition. So I was telling you about transient, right? Creation of that object. So the existence of that object is within the system. When it is needed, it will be created, and when it is closed, it will be destroyed. So such things we call it as transient, which is a constraint, which is a condition. So based on the requirement, we can also use nodes and constraints in interaction diagrams, that is sequence and collaboration diagrams. So let's study each diagram in detail. So the first one is about sequence diagrams. So the same example is given here, but in a different perspective or in more specific, in more level of abstraction, we'll study about sequence diagrams here. So objects that participate in the interaction are at the top of the diagram along x-axis. So objects have to be placed along x-axis, and whoever is the initiator of communicating, that should be first, and then next object, and then so they have to be placed in the order. Okay. Sorry. So the objects that initiate the interaction at the left and increasingly more subordinate objects to the right. So these objects also to be placed in the order. And messages that these objects send and receive along y-axis. So this is along y. So along y-axis the lifelines. So between these lifelines, so we are going to give the messages. And clearly when we see this thing, so the clear visual cue is nothing but the flow control is over time. So these are the objects along the x-axis and lifeline along the y-axis. So lifeline means it's the lifespan of a particular object. Okay, so I'll tell you the basic example of ours only, human beings. So the lifeline, what we say, the duration, that person was there in the current world. So from how we count from his birth to death. So that is the lifespan of that particular person we say. So clearly here for the particular object also. And what are these rectangle boxes, solid thin boxes, what we are able to see on the lifelines? These are called as focus of control. So a human being in his lifespan, when he is active, so maybe when he is in young age, so maybe 20 to 30 or 35 is okay. So young age. So this rectangular thin box shows that whenever that particular object is active, so though it is existing, maybe at one point of time when it has to receive some messages, okay, and when it has to respond back, that is the only time it was active. Later it was waiting or maybe in a different state of that object. So but it will be active only when it sends and receives some messages. So if you can see this client, so it is active. Why? Because it is sending here and receiving and then destroying. So here also the transaction, wherever it is active, only when it is receiving and sending back, so that only that period it is active. Here server also, when it is active, when it is getting some message. Here also message. I hope all of you understood this, what is focus of control. So the same example you can remember and easily you will be able to write this diagram. Okay, so client booking his ticket, so he has to create the transaction object, okay, and give his details, and those details will be saved in the server, and how we are doing your payment and all, so those things also will be saved and the acknowledgement will be given. Once that is availed, it will be destroyed. Okay, so but though we have studied some properties of this, so still more we can learn. So how exactly this sequence diagram can be distinguished from collaboration diagram? How this sequence diagram is different from collaboration diagram? So there are two ways or 2 points what we can discuss how it is different from collaboration. That first one is there is object lifeline. Okay, so only in sequence diagrams you will have object lifeline. And what is that object lifeline? So it is the period where that object exists from its birth to its death, or from its creation to destruction. Okay, so that is what we call it as lifeline, or the objects exist within its time period, okay, where that is alive. Okay, and on that lifeline we are going to draw something called as vertical dashed line, which we call it as focus of control. Okay, so that represents the existence of object over a period of time. Okay, so this is the second one. So first one is about the dashed line only, and the time span of that object, it is concentrated here, the first point, object lifeline. Whereas the second one, it is nothing but focus of control. So focus of control is nothing but within the lifespan of a particular individual where he is active. So usually we say in young age. Okay, however we discriminate that young age or active age for a human being. So here for an object we call the focus of control as when it is under some action. Action means it is communicating. At that point only we highlight those tall thin rectangle. Tall thin rectangles which are written on the lifelines of the object, which we call it as focus of control. Okay, so again I repeat, the focus of control is a tall thin rectangle that shows the period of time during which an object is performing an action, either directly or through a subordinate procedure. Okay, so this is about where how it is, the sequence diagram is different from the collaboration diagrams. So that is first one, the lifeline, second one, focus of control. But whereas other contents, if you see, sequence diagram is having objects, collaboration also will have objects, and sequence diagram will have interaction along with messages. So here in collaboration also it will have. But in what way it is different from collaboration means, so only these 2 points, object lifeline and focus of control. These two will exist only in sequence diagram, but not in collaboration. Okay, so that is about sequence diagram. So let's see the next one about collaboration diagrams. So collaboration diagrams, already we have learned that. So collaboration diagrams are the ones which are emphasizing on the structural organization of the objects that participate in the interaction. Okay, so here the same example what we have learned at the introduction of this chapter. So the client, transaction and proxy. So how we are going to get the communication by seeing this collaboration diagram? Based on the message numbering. Client object instance C is first creating the transaction object, and then the client object is sending his details, set actions to the transaction, and after that from transaction, so set values are sent to the proxy server, and the details, how he was paying and what ticket he booked, so all the details are served in the proxy, and once that is done, so once it is available, it will be destroyed. And we can give local, so a user can book his ticket from his local system in order to do transaction, but whatever the transaction that user is doing, it has to be stored into the server which is globally present. Okay, so this is about collaboration diagram. Similarly, how we have studied sequence diagram, how it is different from collaboration. So for collaboration also we need to say how it is different from sequence diagram. So collaboration diagrams have two features or 2 points that can be distinguished from the sequence diagrams. The first one is the path. The first one is the path. What is the path we call between the two objects? It's the link. Okay, to indicate how one object is linked to the another. So first one is the path in collaboration diagrams. Do we have path in sequence diagrams? No. Okay, so just concentrate on what we have learned. Do we have path in sequence diagram anywhere? Is there any connection between two objects here? Only messages and lifelines we are showing. Is there any connection? No. So that is the unique feature of the collaboration diagram. First one is link, and then the second one is sequence number. So these messages will have sequence number. Based on that sequence number only we can get what the interaction, how it is communicated, who is the initiator, what is the first message, and after that how it is communicated to the second one, what he has responded. So all that interaction can be traced out based on the sequence number. Okay, so these are the two things, path and sequence number are the two features which is different from sequence diagrams. But whereas all other things about objects, interaction symbol or the messages. So all these three things are same in, whereas in sequence and collaboration. Okay. So the next one is about semantic equivalence. So semantic equivalence means, so the scenario, if you see, it is the same in sequence and collaboration. Okay, but they mean the same, but they are in different representations. They are in different representations. If one diagram is drawn, the other one can be generated. If sequence is drawn, collaboration can be generated. If collaboration diagram is drawn, sequence diagram is generated. So that's why we call these two as semantically equivalent, and one can be generated from the other without any loss of information. Why? Because the same objects we take, same messages we take, okay, and same interaction symbols we take. So there won't be any loss of information when converting from one to other. So that's why we call them as semantically equivalent. Okay, and in other words, we also call these two diagrams not only semantically equivalent but also isomorphic. Isomorphic means they are just like mirror images. If one is there, other one can be generated. If the other one is there, the first one can be generated. Okay, so then common uses. So the common uses here is, in order to get the dynamic aspects of the system, interaction diagrams also can be used. So that is the context of a system as a whole or a part or an operation or a class. So the context can be anything. Okay, how we have drawn about use case diagrams. So it can be for the whole system or subsystem or a part of it, partial. So similarly here also we can get. But each use case is a flow control here. Each use case is one sequence diagram. Each use case is one collaboration diagram. So that means how many use cases you are drawing in one use case diagram for a scenario, that many sequence diagrams you will get. Okay. So these are the two uses, that is to model flow of control by time ordering. It's nothing but sequence diagrams. And the second one is to model the flow of control by organization. It's nothing but collaboration diagrams. So these are the two uses. And then moving on to the second part of this chapter, that is about common modeling techniques. So the first one, I have many times I told you, in diagrams chapters, whatever the uses we are writing, so the same thing will be coming under common modeling techniques only. So the first one, modeling flow control by time ordering. So in order to draw a sequence diagram, so how we can model? What are the things you need to concentrate first? So first you need to concentrate on the context of the interaction. What exactly is the context? Who are the objects? Either it is for the entire system or a subsystem or a partial or a operation or a class or any one scenario. So that context of the communication or interaction we have to identify. And after that, whoever is the initiator, that have to be placed first from left to right in the x-axis of the sequence diagram. And for every object, we'll give the lifelines. And on the lifelines, wherever these objects are sending and receiving messages, so that we can emphasize by giving the focus of control. And starting the messages that initiates this interaction. Okay. And then we have object lifeline with focus of control. Okay, where we are sending the messages and receiving the messages, that can be focused in focus of control. And then if any time constraint or space constraint if we have, we can specify. See, though we might haven't studied about time mark and all, so in upcoming chapters we'll be learning how to give time and all. So if those things are also needed, we can give here. Okay, and if any pre or post conditions. So some constraints, if at all you want to specify. So this message will be sent only when this condition is satisfied. So such messages also can be given. Or still more, if at all you want to give more specific details, then we can give note also. Okay. So I want everyone to concentrate on this point. So that's why I have highlighted and also underlined. So a single sequence diagram can show only one flow of control. Okay. So the use case is one flow of control. That is sequence of actions to perform one flow control to achieve some task. So that task, whatever we are seeing as use case, that can be captured in only one sequence diagram. If at all you have many flow controls, then you may need to draw many sequence diagrams. So that is what we are talking about here. Suitable name to distinguish it from its siblings. So first sequence diagram is for what purpose? So that the unique name for that first flow control, it has to be specified. Similarly, for the second flow control, you have to give. So likewise, you will have multiple flow of controls, means multiple sequence diagrams you need to draw. And each one need to give a suitable name that have to be distinguished from its siblings. Okay. So the next one, the flow control involved initiating a simple two-party phone call. So this is the example we are going to see now. So what the flow control involved in initiating a simple two-party phone call. So when two parties are there, sender and receiver. Okay, how the conversation is done. So that flow control we are giving here. Okay, sender, and this is switch and this is the caller. Okay, see, caller object is the same, but the instances, S stands for sender and R stands for receiver. Okay, sender lift the receiver. So this half arrow, if you can concentrate, the first one here, the half arrow is nothing but it's a signal. Okay, so when the receiver lift the receiver, okay, whenever you take your mobile, so when you want to dial, so first that service should be available, it should be active, then only you can connect. So similarly here, they are talking in terms of LAN connections here. So you can just imagine that scenario. So lift the receiver. So as the sender lifts the receiver, so he will get some signal from the tower or switch. So what a signal he has to get as soon as he lifts. So when he lifts the phone call, so the signal is sent to the switch and this switch in turn will set you dial tone. So when you get dial tone, that means you can confirm that your phone is working. Okay. So after you get the dial tone, you are going to dial the digits. And those digits is going to be sent as a signal to the switch or the tower or the service center. Okay. So whatever the number you have dialed, so at the switch, so it is going to check whether it is STD or ISD way to which tower again this call have to be connected to. So those details it is going to check route call. So based on the sender and the number he has dialed. So that is what S, N. Route call from sender to the number what he have dialed. Okay. And the switch is going to create an object, that is conversation object, and from that conversation object it is going to send the ringtone to the receiver. Ringtone to the receiver, and as soon as receiver gets the ring, that he is getting a phone call, so he lifts the receiver. That is the signal given to the conversation, and as soon as the receiver lifts the phone, so what will happen? So the connection between receiver and sender will be established. Connect receiver and sender. So that is what R, S. So that is done between switch and the conversation. So intermediate ones, these two will converge in order to connect sender and receiver. Once the sender and receiver are connected, so they can converse. Okay, so whatever the conversation is sent from the caller for the conversation, it will be sent to the sender by giving receiver connection message to the sender, and similarly from sender it is sent to the receiver, that is connect yes. And we were talking about if any details, if at all you want to show, you can give it as a note like this. You can give callers S is sender and R is for receiver. Callers S and R may exchange information after both are connected. Okay, so if any of the things you want to show in detail, so like this you can give as a note, and that note where can be connected to maybe for any message or for any interaction or any object you want to connect, so you can connect that using dotted lines. Okay, so this is the example of sender and receiver, that is initiating a phone call between the two parties, that is sender and receiver. Okay, and then moving on to the second common modeling technique, that is modeling flow of control by organization. That is nothing but collaboration diagrams. Okay, when you are getting indirect questions, so they may ask you how to model flow of control by organization. It's nothing but collaboration diagrams only. Okay, so in order to do this, so the same steps what we have done for sequence diagram. So first we need to understand the context of conversation, whether it is for system or subsystem operation class or any scenario or for any use case of collaboration. So those contexts you have to identify, and then identify the objects who are interacting, and they have to be placed randomly, all the objects, and initial properties of the objects, like any conditions like what we have given, local, global, their connections, and setting the links between those objects. Okay, and by giving more specific stereotypes like global and local ones, and starting the messages by numbering. So, and those numbering can be based on procedural, that is decimal numbering, recursive, what I was telling you, and then time constraints if needed you can give them to the existing one, that is what it's called as add-oning. And then if any pre and post conditions needed you can give. Not only that, you can give constraint and note also. Okay, so the same things whatever are applied for sequence, the same things will be applied for collaboration too. Okay, so as with sequence diagram, a single collaboration can show only one flow of control. Even with collaboration also, we can show only one flow of control. Okay, so here the example it's different. The flow of control, control involved in registering a new student at school. So let's see this example. Okay, so this is a collaboration diagram. How exactly we can say collaboration diagram? Because objects are there and their connection is given as a link and the messages are numbered. So how you can get the scenario of this? Okay, so how to start the conversation here? So just see for the message one, least numbered message. So it is 1. So that means registering agent R instance is creating an object instance. Yes. Okay. So after 1, so do we have any 2 message? Yes. So after creating a student's instance, yes. So it is adding student into the school. Adding student into the school. But here the registered status it is false, and here they are adding. So once that is added, so what we are going to do? We are going to give the registration. So it's something like this. So register agent is nothing but the office person who is there. Okay, once you approach the college, he is going to give you the application form. So application form is the yes instance state. Still that status is not the student of Loyola College. So still it is false only. Though you took application form, still you didn't become the student of Loyola. Okay, but all your details are added into the college. Okay, with status false. Okay, not allotted to any class. Okay, so after that, after creating an object instance and adding the details of the students into the class, so then he is going to register. So register means maybe this registration process will have conducting an exam viva, and once he registers, so that means confirming that he is a student of Loyola and he has to assign to some course. So that is 3. And after that, get scheduled. So 3.1. So for that student, a schedule will be given. Schedule will be given asking to joining for which course and what are the details of that course, when it is going to start and all. So once the schedule is given as a self constraint to that student, then now this student is going to add into course 1 and going to add into course 2. So here maybe it's not like based on the certificates. So a student can register for n number of courses. Maybe instead of a college, you can just think this one as an institute for joining for 2 different courses and where you want to learn. Okay, so 3.2 and 3.3. And once joining the course, so now the student whose status registered was false now becoming the student registered as true after paying the fees and all the formalities are done. So now we are the student of that institute to attend 2 different courses in the institute. Okay, so that's how we can trace out the conversation, what's happening within that system. Okay, so that is about this example. So here for sequence diagram, 2-party phone call is there. Can you draw the 2-party phone call sequence diagram into a collaboration diagram? I showed you whatever the objects are there, you need to take randomly and those objects have to be connected, and whatever is the first message you keep on numbering. So numbering is your choice, whether you go for flat sequence or procedural sequence or the combination of both also you can give like this. And similarly for this example, can you draw sequence diagram? Okay, so I give this assignment for all of you. So maybe not for tomorrow, for day after tomorrow's class, all of you draw 2-party phone call example collaboration diagram and this example sequence diagram. Coming to the third part, so that is forward and reverse engineering. So forward engineering, it's nothing but generating code from the model. Okay, so it can be done for both sequence and collaboration, especially when there is an operation. So here the operation public void register and the operation is getting the schedule. Okay, so whenever we are drawing a diagram, so that is we call it as a model. Okay, so when this model we are forward engineering from model, when we are generating code, maybe suppose for this scenario only to get the details of get schedule. So when you forward engineer this model, so this is the block of code what you are going to get. So that is the forward engineering, and this is the C++ code, what exactly in which language we want the abstract code of the model, so that can be generated. So similarly from the code whatever we have, we will get back the model. Okay, so here forward engineering is a straight approach. From the model directly we are getting the code. So if it is a operation or the details, if they are very clear, so that will be a straightforward one. But whereas reverse engineering is bit hard. Why? Because so when it has to be reverse engineered into a model, so by from the code we need to get the details of whether it is abstract or concrete classes. So all the details of inheritance. So from the code, so it has to be done and it has to be given into the details of the model. So that's why it's hard, but it's not that we cannot draw, we can do it. Okay, and then hints and tips in order to draw these diagrams. So no single interaction diagram can capture about the entire system aspect. So as I told you, either a sequence diagram or collaboration diagram, it can show you only one focus of control, not focus of control, flow control. Okay, only one flow it can show to perform a task. That's why it cannot get for the entire system. So you need to know this point. For entire system means how many flows are there, that many use case, that many sequence or collaboration diagrams you have to draw. It is focused on the communication. So interaction and dynamic aspects. And whatever are important, essential, so those things only need to be highlighted. And for interaction diagrams, when many flows are there, many interaction diagrams and each one should give a name that and you should avoid making it more complex, make it as simple as possible. Okay, and then no crossovering of the lines. So when you make it simple, so maximum avoid minimum lines that cross, and we can also use notes and visual cues to draw the attention of the features in the diagram. Okay, and if any branching, if at all we want, so branching, if at all it is complex, so that branching and all it can be covered in activity diagrams, but not in interaction diagrams. Okay, so these are the topics what I wanted to cover in today's class. So this is about interaction diagrams, and that is the main focus of sequence and collaboration.